Hiya! So in this video, we're going to look at the next problem on our practice exam. And in this problem, we have something slightly more difficult. So we have a probability density formula. We're trying to find the probability density formula for y, right? So we're trying to calculate Fy of y. And we know that y is equal to x minus 1 squared. In other words, we're going to be doing a change of variable. So we first need to figure out what x is, right? So what is x? X is the random variable with probability density formula here. So in other words, this is f of x sub x. And we know the interval. It's on everything, right? It's from minus infinity to infinity. And then this is just an e-class portion. I'll get to that in a second. So basically what we end up having is so what we have to do is first figure out whether we're doing many to one or one to one, right? First, is it many to one or one to one? Here, we have to look at our y is equal to x minus 1 squared. If you were to graph this, and I'm okay with you graphing this into Desmos or whatever graphing calculator you want. That is not considered cheating. You're more than okay doing that. Here at 1, we see that this is basically what our function would be. Y is equal to x minus 1 squared is this function. In other words, it goes down at 1, it switches. So in other words, we have to look at the range. So therefore many to one. So our range, we have to split up, right? We have to split into two sections. This is minus infinity to 1, union 1 to infinity, right? And this is going to be converted using our formula. So here we have minus infinity minus 1 squared to 1 minus 1 squared, union 1 minus 1 squared to minus infinity to plus infinity minus 1 squared. So this is equal to infinity to 0, union 0 to infinity. So in other words, we just have 0 to infinity as our range. Okay, so we have our range. Next, what we want to do is figure out our derivatives, right? So kind of what I'm going to do is solve for x and get derivatives. So I'm going to kind of do both at once. So the derivatives we have, this is kind of easy. Y is equal to x minus 1 squared. This gives dy is equal to 2x minus 1. I remove 1 from the exponent, and then I take the derivative of the inside, which is just 1. So that's it. So this is our derivative. And then let's also solve for x while we're here. What we have is x minus 1 is equal to plus or minus the square root of y, which implies that x is equal to 1 plus or minus square root of y. And I'll kind of show both of these because it might one is going to be more beneficial to us in the future than before. And the reason why I want to see this is because you kind of see here I have an x minus 1. So substituting x minus 1 is probably going to be easier than trying to substitute in an x. So what this implies is actually, so if I take dy over dx, I have 2x minus 1, which is just equal to 2 times plus or minus square root of y. Yeah. Okay. And so we have this, and basically what's left is solving for the probability density formula. This, if you remember, is just the sum of everything of f sub x of x over dy over dx. So this is just f sub x of x over minus 2 square root of y plus f sub x of x of 2 of y, right? Because we have the plus or the minus here on top. So at this point, we just notice how the absolute values are going to disappear, right? And so we end up getting 2f sub x of x over 2 square root of y. Why did I write square root of y twice? So in other words, you have f sub x of x over square root of y. So looking at our f sub x of x, we just need to take this and plug it in. So we have this is equal to 1 over, I have it written down here on the side, so I'll just use this. It's pi squared 1 plus x minus 1. These should be little y's. Why are they big? Pi squared. Yeah, there we go. And then all of that is over the square root of y. Now here you can kind of see that everything is in the denominator. So I'm just going to move everything below. So pi squared, square root of y, 1 plus. And then notice how I have x minus 1. So there's x minus 1 here. This is x minus 1 squared. And here I can use this formula as well. So in other words, I'm going to be squaring this, right? So in other words, I have square root of y squared, so I just get y here, over pi squared. And this turns out to be the final formula. So this is our formula for f sub y of y. Now, obviously, I don't want you to plug this into eClass. That's a little bit difficult to plug in. And so for eClass, what I'm having you do, and you still need to give this solution in CrowdMark as well. So remember, you have to give both. You're going to plug in y equals 1 and give me that number. So in other words, for eClass, what you're going to do is you're left with here. You take this, you plug in 1, and you figure out what this number is. So pi squared times 1 times the square root of 1 technically, plus 1 over pi squared. This is just 1 over pi squared plus 1. And solving for this, you should get 0.092. So this is the number you would plug into eClass, and also give eClass, and also give on CrowdMark, right? You have to give both for it to be a viable solution. So yeah, so that's the change of variable. I think we've kind of seen this stuff before. So all of this, you can't see the word CrowdMark, but I'll put it underneath. So all of this should be relatively easy. So yeah, so I believe in you for these two. Next video, I will see you for the third question. So this will be the start of part 2. So I will see you then. Bye.